good evening, and welcome to my YouTube channel and or blog. My name is Paul. I'm also called Knick-Knack. I'm the brains behind Knick-Knack's Old Peculiar, the blog I've mentioned already. I'm also the brains behind Knick-Knack's Daily Teaser, which is a fun, hopefully enjoyable quiz that I do every day. I will try and put in links to both in the corner here, but if I don't, please feel free to Google for Mr. Cuddy 2977 on YouTube, and feel free to search for Knick-Knack's Old Peculiar. On top of those, I also do TV reviews of science fiction shows I think you'd like to see, or at least I know that I'm watching and have enjoyed and want to talk about. Just recently, I've the fifth and final series. Last night was the 18th, Thursday the 18th of April. Tonight is Friday the 19th. And it's time for me to tell you that I've seen episode 4 of Star Trek Discovery, Face the Strange, and what I thought about it. Let's kick off, shall we? Episode 4, Face the Strange, opens with the usual summary of earlier episodes and then shifts to 15 hours before the start of the main story to show us Lak and Mol, Elias Defexis and Eve Harlow, dealing with an unnamed arms dealer and paying him with spiked latinum. The pair have been warned that the dealer would try something after, and with the dealer dying at their feet, choking himself to death, the pair now have an advantage in finding the next clue, as they have the one weapon that will slow down the USS Discovery. The scene shifts again to now, and shows us that the arachnoid thing that Mol had based on Adira Bludobarria's sleeve has now transferred itself to the Discovery and is ever so slowly exploring the ship to find the sort of thing it needs. On the bridge, we see that Commander Rayner, Callum Keith Rene, is giving his fellow officers a hard time until Captain Burnham, Sonequa Martin Green, angrily pulls him into her office so that she can give her first officer a serious piece of her mind. It's only then that trouble starts, when the pair try to transport back over to the bridge and find themselves heading back in time. What did I make of Face the Strange? Here's a question. Did you know that Star Trek very occasionally does time travel episodes? And usually does them very well. City on the Edge of Forever in the original series is possibly the classic Star Trek time travel episode, but there are others. It's not that often it doesn't, and it usually doesn't very well. But it's also very rare that the franchise does a time looped episode, a Groundhog Day kind of episode where crew members get set back in time to point A, they see something destructive happen at point B, they fail to solve the problem at point C, and as a result they get sent back to point A again and have to repeat themselves until they solve the problem at point C. Face the Strange is one such episode, and that idea, that recurring Groundhog Day type of idea, is a simple, basic, straightforward idea, and it's so simple, basic and straightforward that, to my knowledge, the franchise has only ever done a time loop episode one other time. Star Trek The Next Generation's Cause and Effect. It sees a similar kind of problem. Dr. Crusher gets caught in a loop and has to tell the rest of the crew about it. Then it resets. Then she has to do that again and work out what the problem is before it resets. Yada, yada, yada. And it has to be said, it has been a while since I've seen Cause and Effect, but it's, from what I recall, a far slower paced piece. Unlike Cause and Effects, Face the Strange has a reasonably rapid, faster pace and has plenty of action as well. There's lots of intense, quickened dialogue, there's lots of fight scenes as well. And where Cause and Effects initially focuses just on Dr. Crusher and expands to include pretty much all of the crewmates, this is The Next Generation we're talking about. Famously, it was a very good ensemble show. Face the Strange focuses much more tightly on Captain Burnham and Commander Rayner, only coming to include Lieutenant Paul Stamets, Anthony Rapp, as the episode progresses. It's faster paced, and it's focusing on less characters. It also starts with Burnham and Rayner at loggerheads, but over the course of the 50-minute episode, coming to a better understanding of each other and a less conflicted understanding. But that arc, that conflict, it's a wonderfully entertaining thing to watch. We have a pair of leaders here who have very different styles and very different beliefs, and styles and beliefs that are built almost automatically to make sure that they are in conflict. But in this episode, it's very watchable because we see them starting to achieve not agreement, but a workable relationship. That's a very watchable thing to see. There's possibly a last few things to add here to explain the situation or the episode better than I have done thus far. The loop, so you know, the temporal causality loop, is caused by a leftover weapon from the temporal Cold War scene in Star Trek Enterprise. It's the device we see Mol and Lack buying at the start of the episode. It's a little spider-like thing. Stopping that bug is what our heroes have to do to restore normality. The scenes where Burnham confronts a younger self are also very well played, as are those between Burnham and earlier versions of the Discovery's crew. Lieutenant Detmer's early makeup, her bionic eye at the side there, that seems very different now, looking back after 5 years on. Seeing Arium, the cyborg character, Hannah Cheesman once again, equally seemed as odd. Nice to see, because it's nice to see an old familiar character, but again, it looks strange now seeing the character in the modern series of Discovery. What else? The episode again has left me impressed with the quality of the cast. Both Callum Keith Rennie as the hard-ass Commander Rayner and Anthony Rapp as Stamets, seeming in a very minor way to fill the sort of Spock-light kind of role. He's there to not just do something suitably heroic, but he's also there to sort of explain minor scientific plot points as well. It's a very Spock-like thing, I felt. But especially Sonequa Martin Green as Captain Burnham. She put in Anthony Rapp and Renee put in very good performances. Sonequa Martin Green has put in a very good performance herself. There's other bits and bobs as well, and I think I'm going to give either one member of the cast or the writer of this episode extra geek points, because I think I've spotted something that's a blatant piece of cross-genre geekery. Sorry, my t-shirt's going all over the place here. I'm looking here at the writer of this episode, Sean Cochran, or actor Tig Notaro. Jet Reno Notaro tells Rayner the next time he sees her to buy her a Vespa Martini at one stage. And yes, in case you're wondering, that is the drink ordered by a certain very well-known Mr. James Bond. It's the drink you see the character ordering several times over many years. I'm finally explained in Casino Royale a few years back. 3 shots of Gordon, 1 shot of vodka, and half a shot of quinoline, and a slice of lemon peel. I'll be honest with you, from the little I know after God knows how many years as a barman, quinoline is a kind of fortified wine, a kind of liqueur, and it's no longer made. It hasn't been done since 1986. You have got to give either Cochran or Notaro geek points for coming up with that little mention there. I don't know whose idea it was, either the writer or the actor, but I've got to give them a round of applause for that, and I'll also be very, very thankful Q hasn't turned up. Which Q? I'll let you decide. Right. You're going to be sitting there asking me a couple of questions, aren't you? You're going to be sitting there saying, Paul, have you seen a good episode? Paul, are you going to watch the next one? And I've got to turn around and say, quite positively and assertively, yes, I will. This season is proving, to me at least, that it's quite good, and it's also very watchable. It's good, solid TV, and very entertaining with it. I will, of course, be watching that next episode of Star Trek Discovery, Mirrors, on Thursday, the 25th of April, and I will be posting my written and video reviews on it on Friday, the 26th. I will hopefully see you then. Goodbye, farewell, live long and prosper, and to quote Patrick McGowan, be seeing you.